forgot to take out a second pack of ground turkey. Yep. And everything else that's going on in the news. Tomorrow is a big day and a big supper day, so we'll be spending a little bit of time together tomorrow because tomorrow is his birthday.
Full and free, without a care in the world. I was one rich little girl, daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days.
Friends, welcome back to the homestead. If you're new here, my name is Lynn, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be doing meals of the week. I love doing these videos. You all seem to enjoy watching them, so it's a perfect match. A lot of the recipes we're going to be using this week too are new recipes from several of my cookbooks that I've been picking up. So I'm really excited to try them. We also have David's birthday celebration dinner and dessert that we'll be doing this week, and we'll be bringing along with that. And one of those is actually one of the new recipes for his birthday dinner. And I just enjoy doing them. I love cooking. I love baking. It is my love language, and I love trying new recipes. And I am honest because I do not have a poker face. If we don't like a recipe, we will let you know. Tonight is not a new recipe. It's actually an old favorite that we haven't had for quite a while because this is not something we eat in the summer. We're actually going to be making turkey chili. And it's cool here. It definitely is feeling like fall, like real fall that we have not had in years. I love it. I am here for it. It's warming up a little bit in the afternoon, but mornings and evenings is much cooler. I even have a sweatshirt on today, my fall sweatshirt. So it's sweatawetta. My favorite time of year. And we are doing turkey chili, like I said. We actually prefer it with ground turkey, but I actually had a couple of things of ground turkey I really needed to use up, so this is perfect. And I am making a big batch of this so I can freeze dry the leftovers because turkey chili freeze dried is amazing. You have a quick supper or lunch in minutes. Minutes. I love it. I find it much more convenient than freezing, and it doesn't take up as much space as a bunch of containers in my freezers. Did I let y'all know we're actually down a freezer? I was hoping to get down a freezer, like that was my plan with getting the freeze dryer, but it kind of forced me to go down a freezer because the freezer quit at some point on us. We don't know when. Luckily, we didn't have a lot in it at that point. There was some, I think, flour and some bread, so those were things we were able to, the flour just went into a bucket. The bread we just ate up. So luckily we didn't lose too big a loss on that. I'm also making this supper in our Instapot. I find it's so much more convenient than the slow cooker, though the slow cooker is great. It's certainly that time of year for the slow cookers and the Instapots. But I forgot to take out a second pack of ground turkey yesterday when I took out the first, forgetting I was making a double batch, so I had to wait for that to thaw out, and I'm like, that's okay. The Instapot is better anyway because it's over and done with pretty quick. And one of the I am trying a new recipe tonight. I forgot, a cornbread recipe that we're going to be trying, so let's get to it. I have a little bit of oil in my Instapot. That's just to help keep this from sticking. I have 4 pounds of ground turkey that I just fried up real quick. I'd say it's 99% cooked. There's a couple pieces that, oh, it's still hot, that may be still need cooking, but they're gonna finish in the Instapot. So I'm not too worried. Just gonna try and break this up. I have clean hands, don't worry. Ground turkey tends to clump. Clump together, there we go. And my sous chef behind me is opening up all my jars and cans for me. I am only going to add 1 can of tomatoes because this is a big can. This is the diced organic tomatoes from Kirkland. I have a few cans left, and then we'll be getting into freeze-dried tomatoes. So 1 can of that. So 3 cans of red kidney beans. I have to rinse 1 more can. I couldn't fit all 4. So it's going to be 4 total. 4 cans of red kidney beans, 1 jar of my homemade tomato juice. I don't have much of that left. And our secret ingredient is the McCormick chili seasoning. I get this in the States. Usually it's sent to me by my parents. And I'm just gonna give it a stir. We've tried several, and even making like my homemade chili seasoning, we just prefer the McCormick's. It's got good green ingredients, and actually you can get organic now. So we'll be making a trip to the States at the end of the month. So it's one of the things I'll add to my list because I am getting low on it. And I'll be talking more about that trip to the States later. All right, that is everything. Lid on. It might help if I plug it in. Pot actually has a bean chili setting, so I'm just going to push that. That's all I have to do. It will start here in a second. So while the chili does its thing in the Instapot, I'm going to start on the cornbread, and this is the cookbook I am going to be using for this. I am loving this cookbook. This was the best gift my mom got me at Ollie's there in New York. Loving it. This is actually called Oven Fried Cornbread. Nothing says good Southern cooking like a crisp cornbread baked in a cast iron skillet. So I love cornbread in the cast iron skillet. That is how I make it with my other recipe. And I just thought I'd try this one. It's a little bit quicker and a little less involved than my old recipe. So there's one thing I'm changing. I don't do this on purpose, I swear. But they use canola oil in the recipe. It's not even something I have in my house. And I've made several cornbreads different ways. We prefer it with the butter. So I have got 2 tablespoons of melted butter. You're gonna need 4 altogether because we're gonna put 2 and a 10-inch cast iron skillet that has been sitting in my oven for a few minutes at 450 degrees. My bowl here. I'm going to need the cornmeal, which is 1.5 cups. They also say white cornmeal. That's not something I have. I don't even, to tell you the honest truth, I'm not even sure what white cornmeal is. I don't think I've ever seen it. So we need 1.5 cups. 1. And a half. A 1/4 cup of sugar. Right. 1/4 cup. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I'm trying to read this. Okay, 1/4 cup of sugar. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And I'm not going to add any salt because I have salt in the butter. And we're just going to give this a stir. Okay, here I have 2 large eggs and 2 cups of milk. I'm just going to add those in there with my 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Those eggs. And we're just going to stir this together until it's moistened. We don't want to overmix it. This is a lot thinner than my usual recipe. So we will see how this goes. Like a lot thinner. Okay, I'm gonna get my hot cast iron pan out and we're gonna put some butter in that. Ooh, that is hot. 2 tablespoons of butter in there. Batter in. And we are gonna bake this for 15 to 20 minutes. Cornbread is in the oven and the chili's cooking, so we are right on track for supper. I did want to mention, I had a goal this year, several goals with my garden, and one of them was to grow, harvest, and freeze dry enough basil to fill a gallon mason jar. And with this last round of basil I harvested, I did it. This was actually full, but I filled 2 small jars that I keep over here that I go to often, and just will fill them back up with this. This was full, so I did it. I grew a whole gallon size jar of basil, and I mean I harvested, I think it was 5 times. I don't know if I lost track on one, but I believe it was 5 times, including this last time, that I harvested basil. The oregano, I don't think I might be able to harvest that one more time. Our nights are getting pretty cool here, very cool, and our first frost is in, I think, 1, 2, 3, little less than a month away. I think October 7th, and today is the 8th, so just under a month away. I don't know if we're gonna make it to that, but I did manage to grow the basil I wanted, so I'm pretty happy. We harvested the very last of the tomatoes, even if they are green. They're all in our store right now, ripening. As they're ripening, I'm throwing them into the freezer. That was pretty cool. And peppers. I still have onions and potatoes to pull, which I'm hoping to get to in the next couple of days. And then when we are back from our trip, we will put the gardens to bed. So for those of you who'd like to know what the menu plan is, I'm gonna put it right here. This will be the recipes, hopefully, that we will be making all this week. Like I said, there's some new ones there, and it just feels so good to be meal planning again. I find in the summer, we kind of get loosey-goosey, and it's so hot that sometimes we are just eating maybe a sandwich or even a bowl of cereal, some yogurt, things like that. So it's nice to be meal planning again and get back on track with our meals. Cornbread just came out. I had mine in there for 17 minutes, and then I checked it around 14 minutes. It was still running in a few spots, and then at 17 minutes it all came out nice and clean. So we're gonna let this cool here, and then we'll flip it out and cut it into wedges and serve it with our chili. It smells pretty darn good. Tonight, very, very hot. Normally I put Normally I would put cheddar cheese that's shredded on top of this, but we had a lot of cheese with our supper last night. I didn't record it because I didn't really meal plan. It was kind of a last minute thing, but I should still have shared it. It was just mini chicken quesadillas. That's all we had last night, but I'm kind of cheesed out. So David laughing at me at my couldn't say that. He thinks it's hysterical. Okay, so Dave and I both have tried the cornbread. The flavor is amazing. It is very, very delicate. I'm gonna make this again, but see, like it falls apart when you try to pick it up and eat it. But it is good. When I make it again, it's 1.5 cups of cornmeal. I'm gonna substitute 1/2 cup of the cornmeal for flour, all-purpose flour, to give it a little bit more structure, and see how that goes. But the flavor's not bad, but it is very, very fragile. See you back here tomorrow night for another meal. Tonight for supper, Taco Tuesday, but mixing up a little bit. I'm actually gonna make a taco dip, and then we're just gonna scoop them out with organic tortilla chips. I did this once before, and David really liked it. I really liked it too, and it's just a little change. So I have 2 pounds of ground beef that I am browning up, and I'm going to add to that 1, 2, 3, 2 tablespoons of my homemade taco seasoning, or you can add your packet, whatever you have. promise this will be my only rant in this video, but we've been talking a lot about prices of food on Stock It September. It drives me insane, but also shrinkflation also. And I just noticed the cheese. I thought this, I'm like, this seems like a very small block of cheese. This big block of cheese, I hope you can see that. Come on, focus. Focusing, there we go. 400 grams. These used to be 900, then they went to 700, then they went to actually 600, which was weird. Then they were 500 for a long time. They're now 400. I'm basically gonna use a whole block of cheese because it's only 400 grams for this recipe. Oh, I'm so angry right now. So yeah, that's the packet. And I just thought, that looks awful thin, because it is. Yet, still actually higher price than it was before. So they given us less and they're making us pay for it. I really gotta start making my own cheese. I have a whole block of cream cheese and a whole container of sour cream. I am making a double batch. This way David has leftovers for lunch this week. So I'm gonna get out my mixer. I was hoping I could mix this by hand, but even though the cream cheese is room temp, it's still hard to mix in with the sour cream, so I'm just gonna get my handheld mixer. You don't have to mix these together, but David is not a sour cream fan, so I find if I blend them, he doesn't mind it as much. So, okay. Don't worry, my hands are clean. I've washed them about 16 times in the last 2 minutes. Okay, there's that. Now I'm going to layer my ground beef. Next is some bell peppers. Some of these are frozen. The last frozen bag from last year, actually, I put away the exact amount we needed, and then I cut up a couple of fresh ones I just picked from the garden that I brought in to start ripening, and they ripened. So some of these I did not cut into half like I thought I did. So I did 2 long peppers, 1 small chocolate bell pepper, and then I had a small bag of frozen, probably the equivalent of maybe half of a yellow bell pepper. But this is all to taste. If you don't like peppers, you don't have to add it. You could put olives in here. You could put green bell peppers, you could put jalapeno peppers, you could put banana peppers, you could put beans, whichever you like. Okay, and then, almost forgot, salsa. Basically anything you would eat with tacos, you can put in this. Okay, we're just gonna pour some salsa right on top of that. And then some cheddar cheese. I won't need all of this, but I figure if I'm shredding it, I might as well shred. I thought I was going to need all of it, but shredded, it looks a lot more than it sure was in that skinny little package. Well, I probably used maybe 2 cups of shredded cheese. Shredded cheddar cheese. Okay, that's going to go in a 350-degree oven just for about 10 minutes or so. We just want the, sorry, I see a couple of peppers I missed. The cheese to melt. The hamburger is still pretty hot, but the peppers are cold too in that cheese, so we'll put it in for 10 minutes. While that is finishing up in the oven, let me tell you how I would make this if I was the only one eating it. I would make avocado crema and put that on the bottom. my favorite thing. I love it. David does not like avocado at all, and he doesn't like sour cream, but that's what I would put on the bottom of that. I think it would be amazing, and I might try it, actually, a small version of it for myself here coming up, because it just, now that I'm thinking about it, it sounds really good. Fresh out of the oven. You could also serve this with tacos, absolutely. Like, it doesn't have to be chips, but we just prefer the chips. How much you want, hun? Is that good? And then put a few of the chips in. More. Okay. I dropped the chip. And that's supper for tonight. Tomorrow is a big day and a big supper day, so we'll be spending a little bit of time together tomorrow, because tomorrow is his birthday. Yes, I'm in my pajamas, because part of today's meal I have to start right now if I want to have it done in time for supper. And that is the Dutch oven bread, and it is the recipe again from the Farmhouse Family Dinners cookbook. I think everything today except for the vegetables is from this. The main dishes recipe is also from this. But for now, we need to get this bread going. So in my large bowl here, I am going to put 3 cups of flour. 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to be careful where I put this, because salt can actually make yeast not work. So we'll put it right there. And 1.5 cups of water, or enough water, it says, to make this a shaggy dough. We don't have to knead this dough. Okay, and then we stir in the last 1/2 cup of flour. So it's 3.5 cups of flour total that you're going to use. So there's the 1/2 cup. Stir this in. Not need. Cover and let rise in a cool place. No wonder it takes so long to double. For 7 to 8 hours. Okay. 7 hours puts us at roughly 3 o'clock today, and you cook it right after that. So, okay, I think we're going to be on track. So I'm going to cover that. Have a cup of tea, and I'll see you back here later when we start the rest of the meal. I'm dressed, and we're going to make the fun part of tonight's meal, David's birthday cake, and we'll get to that in a second. But it's been about 5-6 hours since I made the dough this morning, and I think we're already doubled. So as soon as the cake comes out of the oven, because that's going to take quite a while to bake, I will get this going. So we're going to set this aside for now. And we're going to work on David's cake. And we're actually making a vanilla pound cake. Very simple cake to make. It is David's favorite cake. I think out of every, I think it's almost his favorite dessert. And I might do an icing on top of it. I'm still debating. I actually want to add maybe freeze-dried strawberries to the icing to make it have a flavor, but we will see. But first we have to bake the cake. Okay, for this recipe you are going to need, let me find it here. Like I said, it's very simple, and it's delicious. You'll need 1.5 cups of sugar, 1 cup of unsalted butter, I am using unsalted butter because I have it, but if you have salted butter, you just wouldn't add the salt. 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 4 large eggs, and 2 cups of flour. That is it. That is all we need. So we are going to get our butter and our sugar into our mixer here, and we need to get these creamed and incorporated, and it's until they're fluffy, which is going to take several minutes. So we're going to get started on that. Oh, and the vanilla. Okay, that's about a tablespoon. That was 8 minutes, and it is nice and fluffy. Now we're going to add, so we have 4 large eggs, and we're going to add just 1 egg at a time, and we won't add another one until the one before it is completely incorporated. And then we're going to slowly add the flour, and that is it, and we don't want to overmix this. I'm going to add the last little bit of flour, probably about half a cup by hand. So this way I make sure I can't overmix it. It's really hard to overmix by hand, but it's very, very easy to overmix with the mixer. So as I said, I am using a 9 by 5.5 glass loaf pan. So you can do this in an 8.5 by 4.5, I think it is. Let me just double check. 8.5 by 4, and it will take 50 minutes, or a 9 by 5.5 like I'm doing. And I'm going to put this in, I'm honestly going to put it in for 35 and check on it. My oven seems to cook much quicker than every recipe says. So this took, ooh, this took over 80 minutes. Like a long, long time. And quite frankly, the middle might still be just a little bit runny. I'm hoping it's going to finish cooking because I'm worried it's going to start burning. Like 80 minutes is crazy. So we're going to set this aside to cool and get started on the bread. Now, my oven, my bottom oven, because my Dutch oven, which is what we're going to be cooking this in, with the lid on, won't fit in my top oven. Have I mentioned today how much I hate this oven? I really thought this was going to be not necessarily my dream oven, but my runner-up to my dream oven. My dream oven is a gas stove. That's my dream oven. But until I can get one, I got this double oven thinking I was going to love it. I don't. I hate it. I don't like it. It is only, I think it's 3 years old. I'm trying to remember if we got it the same year we got Lily. I think it's 3 years old. And we're already having issues with it, which is not great. I'm actually looking at a couple of vintage ovens on Marketplace, stove/ovens that are from the 50s. I love them. I've always loved them. They've got the coil top, which is great because I hate the flat top glass stove. My friend Holly has one. She loves hers. Anyway, the bottom oven is heated to 450 with the Dutch oven in there with the lid on, and it needs to stay in there for about a half hour. It's been in there for about 10-15 minutes, so another 15 minutes, and then we're going to turn out the dough, shape it, and get it in the oven baking. And then it's not going to be, and then not too long from there, we'll be starting the entree. Also, while the cake was baking, I prepped my carrots. This is Grace and Aiden's absolute favorite side dish. David likes them too, but this is the kind of daddy that my husband is. He wanted to make sure whatever we were making tonight was things the kids would eat. Now Grace won't eat pork, Aiden does, but Grace is okay. She will have some of her chicken that she has, and she's very happy with that, and then she'll have everything else that we're having. But this is their favorite side dish. They both go crazy for this. I usually make it at the holidays. I've started making it a little more often just because the kids love it so much. So these are organic carrots. It's 3 pounds. I have sliced them all, just julienned them. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pats of salted butter. Might need to add more as they cook, but for now we've got about 10 pats of salted butter. I will bake these in a little bit, and halfway through baking I will add some honey, stir them all up. If I need to add more butter, I will do it then, stir them all up and bake them for another 10 minutes altogether. They're typically in there for anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes, depending on how thick the carrots are. And when I tell you, Aiden Kent, our son, loves these. Grace loves these. David loves these. I love them. They're delicious, but the kids go crazy for it. My Dutch oven has been heating up for about a half hour now. We are going to get this out. It has doubled, which I'm very happy about. It looks great. The Dutch oven I'm using is actually one I got for a great deal at Walmart a few weeks ago. I think it was like a $50 Dutch oven, and they had them clearance to $19. And they're oval shaped, which I didn't have, and that's what I'm going to be using because I think just having the oval shaped bread, it will cut better for supper. So if it even goes oval, it might stay more round. But that's the one I'm using instead of my bigger round one I have. Okay, so I have lots of flour here. Okay, we're going to move this off to the side for a minute. And we are going to try and shape this into a ball. I don't really think I need the scraper, actually. This dough is beautiful. Wow. If this tastes as good as this dough feels, this will be my go-to, because it is quick, easy. Okay, I'm going to kind of make it oval shape. We're going to place it on a piece of parchment I have here. And we are going to cut a 1 inch. I'm not going to go too fancy because I, quite frankly, stink at trying to do fancy. But we'll try and maybe do a crescent shape. We want to go about a 1/4 inch deep. Okay. We're going to place that right into this hot Dutch oven, the parchment. Take this lid off for a sec. Place it in here carefully because it is hot, hot, hot. Okay, oven back on for about 20 minutes. So this was only in with the cover off for about 10 minutes and it's done. So the recipe says 30 minutes covered and then 25 minutes uncovered. I think that would be burnt to a crisp if I did that. And temperature for done bread is between 200 and 210. So I'm going to try and lift this out. It's slippery. Okay. We're just going to take this and I'm going to flip this out without trying to burn myself. Woo! That is hot. Okay, so there is our loaf of bread for our dinner tonight. Oh my gosh, it smells good. It looks amazing. I hope this tastes great. Because of the weird shape, it is weird shaped. It's a little pushed in there, but that's okay. And the other reason I had to use this is because I actually have to use the Dutch oven for the pork loin tonight. So, okay, I have a little bit of break. I've got a few minutes before I have to start the pork. I have about 45 minutes. So I'm gonna go crochet some more, have some water, and we'll meet you back here in about 45 minutes. It's time to start finally on the pork. And I have about 2 tablespoons of oil in my Dutch oven. We're gonna get that heating up and we're going to brown this on both sides. I'm kind of thinking I should cut some of the fat off of this. I think I'm gonna. That's a lot of fat. I also have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. Sorry, there must be somebody walking by my house. I cut quite a bit of fat off of that. I'm just gonna brown this on both sides. All the sides are browned. And now we're gonna add 3 medium sliced apples. And 1.5 cups of unsweetened apple juice. I had mentioned in another video that I was going to can apple juice for the first time this year. No, I'm not. I did it already. I just completely forgot. So that's 1.5 cups of apple juice. I gotta get a lid back on that. And we're gonna put this in the oven for 60 minutes or until the internal temperature reads 155. All right, in you go. Oh, I'm gonna turn that off, Lynn. And we're gonna check on that in 50 minutes. Next step is to get some caramelized onions going. Now, the recipe calls for 5 cups of onions. You all know David hates onions. So I'm basically making this part for me. So I'm just using 1 very small onion from my garden and 2 more, roughly 2 tablespoons, give or take. And we're gonna put this on. And we're just gonna and I sliced it. And it says to cook them till they're soft and then turn down the heat and let them cook for 35-40 minutes until they're brown. And while the bread's still warm, I'm gonna try a piece. I put a little bit of salted butter on it. It's really good. Wow. It is really, really good. I did forget to wrap it in a towel. I like to do that with the rustic bread, just so the crust doesn't get too crunchy, but this actually isn't too bad. Okay, the pork loin is out and it's resting, and I scooped out all the apples, and we're just gonna leave the juices, the apple juice, the juices from the fat, the pork, everything in here, and we're gonna get this going on the stove. And to that, we are going to add 1.5 cups of cherry juice. And we just want to cook that to loosen up any bits that might be in there. We're just going to cook this for a minute, and then we're going to add, sorry, that was 1/2 cup of cherry juice. We're going to add 1.5 cups of the cherries. I'm not sure, that's probably not quite 1.5 cups, but I'm not too worried. We're gonna put the cherries in, and this is gonna cook until basically a lot of it evaporates. This is, you want it more of a glaze. Okay, and we have about 15 minutes on the carrot, so that's, I forgot one of the ingredients, 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. I bought this just for this recipe, so we gotta use it. 1, 2, 3. supper, and I'm gonna let him say first. What did you think of the pork dish?
I thought it was really good. I like the pork.
I didn't. The cherry glaze, whatever that stuff was, does nothing for it. Battery died. As I was saying, I just don't think the cherry juice glaze, whatever you want to call it, I don't feel like that added anything to it at all. Other than that, it wasn't bad. Just, it's not my favorite cut that we got from the local farmer. I'm not a fan of it. So that's part of it. But the carrots were awesome. Everyone liked them. There's a little bit left for lunch tomorrow. The bread, what'd you think of the bread? Because that was a new recipe.
The bread was really good.
I thought the bread was really good. I'll be making that again because that was fast.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Aiden loved the pork. He ate all that he took.
Yeah.
With his rice, like he ate all of it. Surprisingly, he didn't take any carrots. He's the one who's always begging me for them, but he just wasn't feeling them, I guess, tonight, he said, but he loved the pork. The pound cake. As you saw, I did put some icing on it because I knew it was going to need it, because after baking as long as it did, I knew it was going to be dry. The outside was dry. The inside, not so much. It wasn't as bad, but we will let that cake just soak up all that icing all tonight and into tomorrow, and we'll have a piece tomorrow night after supper, and I'm sure it'll be moister, but the flavor was good.
Yeah.
It was a very good flavorful pound cake, but I kind of feel like I did not do great today. Like, I just feel like all that work for the pork, and I don't feel like it was that great a recipe. It just, I don't think it added anything to it. Seriously, I don't. But it's done. We are gonna head out for a walk. Lunch just finished and we're starting supper because it needs to get started because it's gonna end up in the slow cooker for a few hours. It's also a new recipe from the Farmhouse Family Dinners. I cannot recommend this cookbook enough. I really love it. So far, everything has been wonderful in it. Last night, maybe not been great, but that also could have been execution because I really felt like a chicken with its head cut off here yesterday. Just so much bad stuff going on in the world and everything. But anyway, today's a new day and we are trying this new dish, and it's autumn chicken dinner. So I'm just gonna get my chicken breast opened here, and we're gonna fry them up, just brown them, add a little bit of salt, throw them in the slow cooker with some, I have 2 apples that I have cut up, and we're gonna put them in there with it, and then we're gonna do the next part. Okay, I do wish the chicken had gotten a little bit browner, but if I keep cooking it, it's gonna continue it's gonna get cooked. So we're gonna put these in the crock pot. Put the skillet back on the stove because we're gonna need that. 2 chopped apples. I have 1 medium onion that I've cut up, and we're gonna cook this until it's softened, 2 to 3 minutes. Next I'm adding 3 cloves of minced garlic. The recipe only calls for 1, but I think garlic is like vanilla. You measure with love. Okay, so we're gonna cook that for about a minute before we add the rest of the ingredients. Okay. A 1/3 cup of any barbecue sauce. I'm using my homemade apple barbecue sauce. And then apple juice or apple cider, I'm gonna use homemade apple juice. A 1/4 cup of that. And we want all those brown bits scraped up. And 1 tablespoon of honey. We're just going to cook this for 1 minute and then pour this over the chicken in the slow cooker and put it on low. And we're going to cook for about 3 to 4 hours. Couple quick quick thoughts. The chicken was very, very good. David and I really liked it. It was very moist and tender. That was a definite plus. We'll be doing that again. And then as you saw, we just had some baked beans out of a can and peas, and we had some of the leftover bread from last night because that was really good. I'll be making that more often. Tonight's supper is a supper I've shared with you a lot. It is my homemade pizza. It's Friday night. We tend to have it on Friday night. I know I've shown it to you a lot, but I just didn't want to leave you hanging wondering where tonight's supper was. So I will say that this was easy tonight because every time I make this dough, it actually makes two, and we only need one at a time. So I've been freezing the second dough. So I had one already ready. I took it out of the freezer first thing this morning and let it thaw out. Even my sauce was already made. I had a couple of pizza sauces frozen from Homemade Pizza Sauce. And I will link some videos here where I've made the pizza many, many times for you all, including the sauce. So you can, sorry, my phone just went off. So you can watch that. But I needed something easy because this week has been a doozy. September 11th was the 1-year anniversary of my dad's passing that we all were not expecting, and everything else that's going on in the news. And today, I know there's good people in the world, but today it feels like there aren't any. So I wanted something very simple and also some kind of comfort food for supper tonight. So thank goodness it's Friday, so it's pizza. So we are just gonna, I already have my oven, my cast iron pan has been in the oven, 500 degrees for the last 10 or 15 minutes. That's the secret to this pizza, is cooking this in a hot cast iron. We're gonna roll it out, and it's just even gonna be a simple cheese pizza tonight because we have no toppings because I forgot to add those to the grocery list this week. And that's going to be it for supper tonight. And that is a beautiful cheese pizza for supper tonight. We even got a bubble. So this will be the last dinner supper dinner. I call it both things, but this will be the last one I'm sharing with you all. And it is a little bit different than what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a new recipe from the cookbook again, the Farmhouse Family Dinners, but it was supposed to be ham. And I thought what we had was a ham. Turns out it was a pork roast with the bone in it. So, which, I mean, it's still pork, but it's still not what we had planned, but we're still going with it. But because it wasn't a ham, I end up having to put it in the crock pot. So I've had it in here on high for roughly the last 3 hours. I've just turned it down to low, and we're going to finish our final step that we're going to add to this pork. So in this pot, I have half a cup of packed brown sugar, half a cup of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of prepared mustard, and a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of nutmeg. And we are going to bring this to a boil till everything is all incorporated and melted. And then we're going to pour it right on to that pork. And this is supposed to be maple glazed ham. But that's okay. I think it's still going to be good. We're eating a little bit later tonight than we usually do. David and I had a little bit later lunch. And David and Aiden, the boys, are out magnet fishing for a little bit. It's absolutely gorgeous day here today, and they wanted to go in. They really haven't done it a lot this summer, so they wanted to get a little bit in before you know, the weather turns and they can't. So they're out doing that, and I am crocheting. My wrists are killing me, but a week from today is the Eastern Ontario Homesteading Conference, so I need to finish up the last few things I'm trying to make. before I start doing all the not so fun work, the labeling and all that stuff. I have a lot of the labeling done, but I need more. And I have to get my tables ready, and I need to see, I don't think I have tablecloths, and I am pretty much in panic mode right now, which I probably shouldn't be, but I am. But okay, once this is done, we will pour this onto the pork, and then I'm gonna let it cook on low for about another hour. Ready for supper. Mashed potatoes, which we haven't had in forever. And the boys picked me up a 10-pound bag for $1.88 at the grocery store on their way home from Magnet Fishing, and they did not find anything. But David said it was still a good time. But $1.88 for a 10-pound bag of fresh Ontario potatoes, that's really good, because the farmer we normally get the big 50-pound bag from, he has let everyone know that not everyone's going to get any. He's actually already sold out of the few he's harvested so far because of the drought this year. So that kind of stinks. But yeah, so some corn, some mashed potatoes, and the pork. Again, the glaze didn't do a whole lot because, well, it ended up being a glaze because it should have been in the oven and it should have been a ham, but that's okay. So thanks for coming along with me for this whole week of meals that we end up doing this week together. We had a lot of winners. I'm really happy. Definitely some things that will be going into the rotation for meals, and we'll be doing this again soon. Until then, take care, God bless, and we'll see y'all soon.